This is the fourth part of the stories I found regarding the enslaved ancestors of the Jackson family. My name is Andre, and I'm a genealogist who helps people to discover their history. We left off on January 28th, 1858, marking the day that Nero had lost the rest of his family. This was a very clear example of the violence of natal alienation that the Jackson family's ancestors endured. The natal alienation of black folks gives coherence to white people. There was no kinship ties among slaves that was respected and regarded legally, regardless of whether those ties were acknowledged by white people. The division of Jenny's children and grandchildren served the white Gales. It reified them. It gave them a sense of being, bequeathing slaves to heirs in last will and testaments, inspections and appraisals of slaves, being the estate that gets divided up and given over to heirs, all served to reinforce that they were the humans who had access to kinship structures. The division of slaves were reminders that participating and benefiting from the structural denial of black folks' access to kinship was how they were able to understand what family was. The violence of natal alienation that Nero and his family endured only meant that the white Gales were a family. It affirmed them as heirs. It confirmed their connection to Josiah and Mary Gale, and it affirmed their connections with one another as co-heirs. It solidified them as a family, keeping them intact and being able to function. His father, July, was now the slave of his biological half-nephew, James Richburg Gale, who lived in Point Coupe Parish, Louisiana. The 1860 slave schedule reveals that James Richburg Gale was the owner of 21 slaves, one of which is listed as a 56-year-old male. This has to be July. I couldn't find any records that discussed anything that had to do with July during the Civil War, but I did find this book revealing that in December 1864, Union troops of the 24th Indiana Volunteer Company were traveling in Louisiana on the lookout for a Confederate militia in Point Coupe. The Union troop arrived at James Richburg Gales' plantation and was greeted by one of his sons with bullets. He ran into the swamp while the Union soldiers camped at the plantation. Union soldier Benjamin Summers wrote, "A large number of hogs and chickens were gathered for the purpose of giving our boys a big Christmas, so they were appropriated as contraband of war." I'm sure July was there for this. This is a picture of James Richburg Gales'